Surviving Reality contains explicit content full of snark and sarcasm that may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Surviving Reality.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly, and we are back with Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup Season 2, Episode 3, My Life is a Circus.
Or as Mariah Plath would say, my life is a circus.
I don't remember all the lyrics. Is it I'm tired of playing this game?
Tired of playing this game. Something about the girl with the freak show, juggling flames.
Now the circus is on fire.
And I hope it never rains.
There you go. Mariah Plath's #1 fans, the fact that we knew at least one verse.
Well, that was a chorus, but yeah.
Whatever.
Okay.
I'm not a songwriter.
Okay.
And neither is she.
Clearly not.
The Plathville tea is heating up. I feel like we're going to have a special to talk about
It's going to be, a Surviving Reality episode bonus just to catch up on this. So before we get into that, we don't want to get too sidetracked here. The reason for the season, it's Gypsy Rose, Life After Lockup.
As Gypsy continues to struggle with the daily online hate she faces, she decides to brave hundreds of people in real life at a public speaking engagement. She's reminded that she may never escape the reason that she's in the spotlight, her crime.
Well, I think that is the conflicted part, is that the only reason people know about you is your crime. So, yeah, that's going to be very difficult to overcome that.
Yeah, that's the difference between being famous and being infamous. You're not famous for a good reason. You're not known for a good reason. That's why there's negativity surrounding you.
And that's why it's hard to replace that notoriety with something that's positive, because it was initially something that was very terrible, and that's what you're known for. So it's hard to surpass that.
That's kind of the theme of this episode. We jump right in with, do they acknowledge it's TikTok? It's pretty much exclusively TikTok, where people are discussing Gypsy. And this is the period in time where Gypsy was starting to promote products on her page. So she's talking about prenatal vitamins and things that have to do with motherhood. And people are pretty turned off by that.
It's not a great look at the time. And that was pretty ballsy of some brands to go ahead and say, you know what, Gypsy Rose, yes, we're going to partner with you on our prenatal vitamin line.
I'm not sure if she was getting partnerships with brands or if they were TikTok affiliate things where she's just picking things from the TikTok shop. And because she has so many followers, she qualified to be part of the program. And so she's just doing this by herself. But man, maybe some vetting. Maybe she shouldn't qualify for that program.
Or just some additional screening.
Yeah, just to protect the brands.
That's the riskier part, I think. Yeah, for the brands to just be like, do they have an approval process? Or is it just you're leaving it open to anybody who has the follower count and they can just associate with you?
I will say it was weird. It made me feel a little weird. And I understand that what else is Gypsy supposed to do? Like, realistically, what is she supposed to do? She is currently on parole. She was convicted of second-degree murder. Is she just supposed to walk in someplace and get a job?
That's what boomers would tell you. Yeah, just take your resume, dress up real nice, and go demand
to speak with a manager.
Demand to speak to a manager. Don't take no for an answer. Doesn't work like that.
That's making things a little black and white.
See, now they're telling you, wait, just go apply online, even when you come in person. Nobody wants a physical resume printed out anymore, ever, anywhere, nowhere.
So she's grifting on TikTok. Are we surprised? It's pretty much the only way that she's able to support herself.
That and her public speaking events.
I don't know if she got paid for that.
Yeah, is she getting paid for this? I don't think so. But this just sounds like the worst possible thing that you can do for a person in this situation. You're getting a ton of flack from people online, on social media. There's backlash for everything that you do and say, that you post, anything that comes up that people are interacting with. It's very divisive. And let's go ahead and put you in front of a room full of a couple hundred students in another state and just have a public speaking engagement. This sounds like my nightmare. This just sounds like anybody who is looking for additional retribution on Gypsy didn't serve her time in prison with the 8 years that she did serve, we remind you yet again, her life is prison. That is the basis of her existence at this point.
I guess that depends how much you like or dislike public speaking. We hate it. Even though we're kind of public speaking right now.
Public speaking in a very private way. We're not in front of anybody. That's what I'm saying. In front of a live audience. That's a little different.
Yeah, and this is coming off the heels of her just putting the pieces together that people only know her because she killed her mom.
Well, I mean, she was the conspiracy to murder.
Right, the technicality. She
didn't commit the act, which is now streaming on Hulu.
We are not, just to clarify, we are not getting paid to promote the act.
Well, not for the act.
I feel like we have to clarify that after talking about Gypsy's weird product promotion.
It's true.
When she first came out of prison, she was talking about how she wanted to make a career out of advocacy for victims of Munchausen's by proxy. And we're not really seeing her do that.
Haven't really seen the platform utilized for those purposes. She got very distracted by the side quests of husbands and babies and parenting. And so that has become the main focus for her channel.
And the TikTok Creator Fund.
Well, specifically, yeah, she is benefiting from this now. So I can't change up my content. It's going to mess up my algorithm.
We meet her manager / former attorney. What does that mean?
I thought it was weird to introduce him as I'm her manager. And it's like, okay, business manager, talent agent. Who are you?
How do you segue from being somebody's criminal attorney, their defense attorney, to now you just manage them?
So maybe,
in what capacity?
He was on the legal team. Maybe he wasn't her legal representation at that time, technically, specifically. He was on the legal team, though.
I need to know more about what Mike does.
And what's his cut? That's what it really comes down to.
Maybe that's why she's got to hawk those vitamins.
She's got to pay Mike's salary. It's not cheap.
No, and he's kept very busy by the online haters.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah. I cannot believe the lengths people are going to, that they are sending letters to Nick in prison to try to make it look like Gypsy is attempting to communicate with him, which is part of the parameters of her parole, because then it will get revoked and she will get sent back to prison.
They're trying real hard to get Gypsy back into prison.
That's just like another level. Don't you think?
Not even dedication, like just the thought process of, okay, what can I do as an individual person to make sure that Gypsy gets put back into prison? Go through all the different rulings in the parole hearing and go through the details of that to find something that, oh, I can impersonate her by writing a letter to Nick.
Also, aren't you committing a crime by doing that? Is that a gray area?
I think that's a gray area because identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Millions of families suffer it each year.
Okay, so then maybe it's morally wrong.
I would say it's morally offensive.
So did Mike negotiate this panel speaking event, or like, is that what he does?
It's more of a fireside chat structure, not so much a panel, since she's the only person here. It's just her and then someone from San Francisco University. San Francisco State?
San Francisco State University.
Okay, State University, sorry. SFSU.
The Gators, as they showed us in the episode.
Which, I mean, that would be right on trend for Gypsy. She'd feel right at home with the Gators. Come on.
Where's Rod? How come he didn't come?
The swamp.
He's busy catching gators.
Laying pipe, catching gators.
Still on the boat.
Yeah, this is 3 episodes now with no Rod. This is a real bummer. He's trying to avoid being on camera.
The first thing about this that I know people are going to take issue with is that they gave her the panel questions ahead of time so that she could study them and think of her answers, which is normal.
Very normal.
I've seen this happen in corporate America as well.
They did take questions from the audience, too. So there were written ones from the audience. I don't think they were doing them at a microphone or anything, but they did have like a Q&A afterwards. So, I mean, she did have to answer some things on the fly.
That would be the part that would give me a panic attack.
Well, yeah,
sure.
We didn't get to see too many of those. I think it was mostly just, oh, do you have any questions for us?
I was pretty worried when she didn't understand one of the questions and she had to talk to Ken about it ahead of time.
Well, because then you're relying on Ken being able to steer you, which I think Ken did a better job of helping her wrap her head around this question. I still don't think he fully explained it, but do we think he probably did a better job than Ryan would have done explaining this? Probably.
Now that you brought that up, I didn't think about the difference between Ken being there versus Ryan. If Ryan was still in the picture, I have no doubt he would have been on the stage with Gypsy.
He would have tried to be on the stage with Gypsy. But even though the conversation was framed as prison reform, but then we end up talking just a lot about Gypsy Rose as a person and her living her life or trying to discover herself, find herself post-prison now. So it didn't really seem like it was as much prison reform. She doesn't seem like the best person to ask about prison reform, though, either, because her life before prison was even more restrictive than prison. Like, she found a lot of freedom in prison. So maybe she's not the best person to go to be like, hey, what did you think?
Yeah, maybe the person who rates the prison 10 out of 10 isn't the one who you go to ask for like serious information about how you could improve the prison system.
Maybe on reform of how to integrate back into society or those types of things.
She's done that pretty poorly.
That she hasn't done very well on either. So again, not really the model patient for that. But I think from the perspective of maybe that sort of preparation or things that they can invest in or things that they could do more for people who are coming out of prison sentences, longer term prison sentences, and how to acclimate them better into society, maybe there would be something beneficial there because she didn't really have much to go on beforehand.
I hope that it was a more productive conversation and that they just took the questions that they thought would be interesting to the audience watching this show.
I would have been upset if I came there for a prison reform conversation and then that was not really what was going on. It was more of a Gypsy Rose vamp sesh.
Yeah.
I'm trying to repair my image on TikTok.
I'd like to talk more about how people hate me online.
Yeah, can we go into
the audience?
Greater detail on that? Yeah. Just a show of hands. It can be very informal here.
I mean, I've got the answer for you. They introduced her as Gypsy Rose Blanchard Anderson.
Legally, they had to.
Did they?
Technically.
Did they?
Technically, they had to. Legally.
Come on. I'm pretty sure I would have said, hey, can you just like drop the Anderson?
Just scratch that part off.
We're on our way to being divorced and I'm pregnant with another man's baby who the man is in the audience watching the panel.
Yeah, I'm really bummed we didn't get to cut to a Ken reaction for that one where he probably just winced a little bit.
He seemed better this episode.
Because there was less of him. I will tell you where he really dropped the ball is when I can't even say he had his suitcase on the bed when he was packing for this trip. It was in the bed. It became part of the bed.
It was all up in the sheets. Wrapped in the top sheet, the duvet.
Atomic level principles of the suitcase became part of the bed. And that is just egregious to me.
Gypsy was packing on the floor where the suitcase belongs.
Which only adds to my respect for Gypsy to have the suitcase on the floor and to know better. But then if you're seeing him just launch his suitcase into your bed.
Whose side of the bed do you think he dropped it on?
It was in the middle. It was everywhere. It was, there was no boundary. He has pierced the veil.
That's one of your pet peeves. Yeah.
I can't do it. On the bed. And on the bed in this fashion. Well, then there was just a bunch of other stuff that was like strewn about too.
So that was your unforgivable Ken moment of the episode?
Yes. And I think the reason why you were more willing to forgive Ken, we didn't have any restaurant interactions. So that was a big improvement over last week. And yeah, it was just generally less of him. And any of the stuff that we did see of him, it was actually pretty supportive in most ways. He was installing a huge ass TV in their living room.
Why was the TV so big? Was it mounted on the wall far enough away from the door? It was right by the front door, and I was questioning if the door would hit it when you opened it.
I didn't get to measure it, but I mean, it looked like it was pretty close.
I needed to see.
We got to swing that thing open. You got to make sure.
Was that like an 80-inch TV?
I mean, it had to be. Yeah, like at least 75. But the distance, I think they're like 4 feet away from the wall. So that's just you're going to hurt your eyes at that point. It's not the right size for the size of the room and the space, the distance from the couch. The
Man.
screen's just too tall at that point. You're going to have a crick in your neck just trying to sit there and watch the news or something.
Ryan didn't even last long enough to get a TV that large. He would love that to watch wrestling.
And football.
And football, right.
Baby, WrestleMania's coming up. We gotta upgrade the TV. Cody Rhodes has been fighting for this all year.
Thanks for ignoring our DM, Ryan, by the way.
Well, I mean,
everyone's ignoring our DMs.
We only sent one message, so at that point, it's kind of on us.
You think we have to follow up?
Yeah, you got to spam them. I think it takes a couple of tries. Well, on TikTok, you can only send 3.
We're saving them up for something good.
Yeah, I guess so.
The one part of the conversation that I did think had potential was talking about right versus wrong and black and white thinking and applying that to the legal system. Because Gypsy's crime, her punishment was mitigated based on the abuse that she experienced, which is why she got 10 years in prison and was eligible for parole, versus Nick being sentenced to life in prison plus 25 years.
I think that's where it's very difficult. There's a lot of people on TikTok who get snippets of Gypsy Rose. Because remember, when Gypsy Rose was first released from prison and she was out on parole and she was doing her initial press tour with Ryan, everybody was very rah-rah Gypsy Rose. It was cheering her on. It was so glad to see her out in the world finally. And then there was the turn that happened. I don't know if it was just because it was people not being very well versed with the case originally. So they're only hearing like parts of stuff. And then the conspiracy theories kind of take on more weight than what actually happened.
I don't even know if it's that. There is a phenomenon online where when somebody very quickly gains a following, there's an immediate turn that takes place where a portion of the audience all of a sudden lives to hate that person. And I think that's what happened to Gypsy. And then it was only amplified by her making poor choices.
See, that was the other thing. She had a whole answer where it was everybody makes choices. Everybody has choices that they're presented with. And so that was kind of setting the table for a lot of people to say, well, yeah, she had a choice to not murder her mom and she didn't make the right choice. So we need to continue punishing her for that, I think is the general assessment there. Gypsy, though, right out of prison, trying to navigate the world, then being thrust into the court of public opinion and making really bad decisions on a public level for her relationships when people are talking about familial relationships is what got her into her first issue, her first crime, hopefully the last. I mean, I don't want to imply first crime as meaning that there's more to come.
Who knows?
But I mean, yeah,
we'll see what choices she makes moving forward.
Everybody makes choices.
Yeah, she had a real "don't call me a victim, sweetie" moment of her own, didn't she?
Yeah.
She doesn't want to be defined by her past. She doesn't want to be defined by her crime. She doesn't want to be defined as a victim. Just judge me based on what I do moving forward. And what we've seen so far is that she has filed for divorce only a few months out of getting out of prison. She got back together with her former fiance and got pregnant, like pretty much the weekend that they met up with each other.
Here's the problem, Gypsy. You're asking people to judge you based on your choices, and they are.
Yeah, I do think that's an element of it.
I think that's the problem. That's the problem here, is that you're not making good choices. You are learning things as you go, and you're trying to figure it out. Yes, we get that.
And I don't even know if it's just that. Also, saying that you wanted to use your platform to represent other victims of crimes.
Munchausen by proxy, specifically.
I think it's called something else now, but yeah. And then not doing it. And instead selling vitamins from the TikTok shop.
Prenatal mommy blogger stuff. That goes a different route. Yeah, this is a problem now.
I'm not sure that she understands also that there can be a lot of backlash to being an influencer. And that's essentially what she's attempting to make herself into.
I will say, I don't think she fully understood the implications of what she was getting involved in when Ryan signed her up for TikTok the day she gets out of prison and she gets 6 million followers overnight, basically. That's a lot to take in, and I don't think she fully understood what was going to happen as part of that. So having that as sort of the learning curve as part of what she's trying to explore when she's first getting out of prison, that's a whole other area of society and psychology and sociology that you need to explore. And she does not have the skills or capabilities or resources available to help her navigate that successfully right now. Maybe that's not where we start.
I agree. And to the point of using it in a different capacity, when she first got on social media, she seemed excited to be able to engage with social media in the way most people do. She didn't get to post about her life and be excited about things that are going on and share them with people. And so that's what she wanted to do with it. But then she's trying to use it as a advocacy platform and I guess run some type of business where she's making money.
That's revenue, baby.
I think that's why there's been such inconsistency with her when it comes to her social media presence. And it's only fueling the fire.
Here's the other thing that I noticed. It's a external validation source for her. She likes the positive. She likes receiving that. When there's negative, though, she doesn't know what to do with that. And it's very damaging and it's very toxic. So that's really hard for her to navigate those emotions and the things that it stirs up and the accusations that are flying around and all of those different elements. She does enjoy the positive reinforcement. And I think she gets a lot of her validation is from external sources, which we've seen through her relationships. She's just constantly chasing validation. So that's my concern, is that now we're not addressing these sorts of things where it's, if that's your basis and that's what you're building as your foundation, that can go away. That can crumble. That people can turn on you. It's the whole different thing that she's experiencing right now. You cannot base your identity and your mental well-being on positive affirmations from strangers on the internet.
Which is why she's doing speaking engagements now, so that people in real life in the audience can give her the positive validation that she seeks.
It's only a matter of time before the people who don't like you start showing up to these things, and then you're going to have those real life interactions that are negative, and then what are you going to do with that?
Well, they already did, because that happens at this speaking event. I was horrified when at the end she walked over to the edge of the stage and started taking pictures with people and signing her autograph.
That was Carly's nightmare.
Well, it was disturbing for multiple reasons. The first is that I just kept thinking she's 6 months pregnant, and there are people who really, really hate her in this world. And I just thought it was dangerous to engage with people that closely. Maybe I worry too much.
You think?
Then there are people like asking her to throw up some hand signals for their sorority. And I started worrying that she could just very easily be tricked into doing something that would get out onto the internet and cause backlash or possibly get her parole revoked. And signing.
Yeah, she's throwing up gang signs as part of the crowd photos after the public speaking event.
She doesn't know.
She doesn't know.
She invented Panini Press because she has no idea what she's talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing over there.
And then signing autographs, I did think that like maybe that's where you draw the line of I'm not a celebrity, so I'm not going to give you an autograph.
Can you sign my movie poster of Disney Cinderella?
Oh, I feel like that might be the live action one. Hold on, let's clarify.
The live action one where she went to the theater.
I know.
And yes, you know what happened.
I do know what happened.
Do you know the Gypsy lore? Do you know this inside joke? Do you know the deep tracks that we're going to here?
It was both inside and it was deep.
Inside. Did I throw you off? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you did a little bit.
I derailed you.
She thought it went great. The audience.
The speaking engagement.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Well, I mean,
past events included.
Wasn't ideal, but she made the best of it, which is kind of the moral of her story so far.
But then she gets on TikTok and she sees what people really had to say.
Well, she had a nice couple of days because they were in San Francisco for the speaking engagement. And then they went down to LA and just hung out at Venice Beach, went on a little boat ride, romantic boat ride, vacation time with her and Ken. They got to go talk to the Virginia. What am I saying? What beach were they at? Venice Beach, Venice, Virginia. Venice Beach tarot card reading, the Venice Beach psychic.
Oh my God, we can't skip over
because
the tarot
that was
card reading.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. Was she spoke to a psychic beforehand, before finding out about all this internet backlash, because things were great. The California trip, it was good. The speaking engagement, public sentiment, 2 thumbs up, positive response. We're getting a pretty accurate tarot card reading here. I noticed she didn't use a calendar card. Different.
Which are different than tarot cards, which we learned in The Real Amish Witches.
That episode will be dropping later this week.
That's over on the Patreon. I still can't believe that wasn't a mockumentary, by the way.
It should have been. It very well could have been. But no, yeah, we have the reading here, the tarot cards. Do you think this lady just follows her on TikTok? She knows Gypsy. She's familiar with the lore.
I think there's zero chance that she did not know all of the details of Gypsy's life before she sauntered up to that table.
Doesn't matter what the cards are. I know the reading here. There's an energy reading that's happening right now.
I was most disappointed by the fact that they just completely skipped over the end of the reading where she mentioned that there's a strong spirit watching over Gypsy.
We did not clarify who that was.
I think I need more details.
Yeah, can we?
Is this like someone who maybe was not always in the spiritual realm? Is it Dee Dee? Is it Dee Dee Blanchard?
I need to know if it's Dee Dee because, this
So
is
does
going to bother
Gypsy.
me. This is going to bother me.
Wouldn't that be some shit if you conspired to murder someone and then they just hung around you the rest of your life?
So maybe it's her grandma then instead, because her grandma was a strong presence, a strong force too. So that was a whole thing.
I mean, that's an opportunity, guys. If Gypsy ever shows up looking for some type of psychic or medium reading from you, maybe just tell her that Dee Dee's still around. Don't you think that would ruin the rest of her life?
Oh, yeah.
I would think about that every day.
I'm sure there's all the negativity and the emotions that come up from the negativity online. It probably is like interacting with her mom in a couple different ways for her. It's very triggering in that sense. So seeing that negativity, seeing the backlash, those types of things that are going out there, it's kind of hard to contend with that and retain your mental sanity, I think, from that.
Well, let's get pizza with Mia. You got to talk with the only adult on the show.
We went from our Venice Beach psychic, and now we're going to speak to our Louisiana psychic, Mia.
She has been able to predict exactly how things are going to go.
Her readings have been pretty accurate so far as well.
I need to know more about what she thinks about Ken. She's
we
been kind of
haven't-
mum on that, hasn't she?
We haven't really spoken directly. It's just, hey, take your time, don't rush into anything, that kind of stuff.
Which she did, so.
She did, too late. But then now don't rush marriage then is the next piece of advice that she's been able to give. So hopefully that one can resonate a little bit more since some of the other advice was maybe overlooked. Didn't really take that as seriously.
I think she should have texted Mia what she was going to wear to this event. That was advice that she needed.
Was it too much vavavoom in the front? Is that what people were upset about?
No, it looked like, as Ken put it, a granny dress. It was weighted. Maybe that helped her. I need a weighted dress next time I have to do a public speaking event.
Yeah, you can't just carry a weighted blanket up with you for your fireside chat at SFSU.
It looked better on the show than it did in pictures. I'll give it that.
Okay. It looked like a sweater material, but it's in the shape of a dress.
It was definitely like an Amazon special. You can never be real sure about what's going to show up when you order something from them.
Well, that's terrifying.
Which we're not doing anymore. By
No,
the way.
it's, yeah.
Saving
for
a lot of money.
Several reasons. But yeah, I think that's terrifying to just... She was saying, though, that she did try on. She was strategically planning out a lot of her outfits that she was going to bring on this trip, making sure that she put the time and thoughtful consideration into this, whereas Ken was just throwing whatever he could into his knapsack.
Look, I feel bad for her. She went to this thing. She thought that she did a great job answering all the questions. She thought the audience was supportive of her. She thought that she looked great in her outfit. And then afterward, she gets online and she finds out none of those things are true.
You learn a lot by going online, and you learn you were mistaken on all of those things. That's unfortunate. But then why let it change the way that you felt about it? If you felt good about it, that's the hard part. That's what you struggle with.
If hundreds of people are telling you negative things, that's going to get in your head at some point.
Yeah, it doesn't make it true though. So that's what I'm saying is like if she's able to feel those things where she was feeling good about the way that she looked, the way she sounded, the way she answered questions, the response in the room, all of that was good. And then you go online and then say, oh, well, I was wrong about all of that. You are then reframing your own experience and putting it through the negative connotations of everyone else. She had a good experience. So then why are you letting everyone else taint that?
That's a big lesson to learn.
That's hard. That's tough to do. And especially when you have someone, like we said, it's very external validation seeking. So then if you are going online for that validation to confirm, did I have a good time? Because I feel like I had a good time. Oh, I did not have a good time. I shouldn't have had a good time. So that's some conflict there, some inner turmoil that comes up because now everyone else is telling you, no, you're wrong.
The part that would have freaked me out the most was there were people who she spoke with, who took pictures and videos with her, and she remembers them, and then she's seeing them on TikTok talking shit about her. That would upset me because I would question my interaction with everyone. Because if you don't like me, then just make it apparent from the conversation that we have. Don't pretend that you like me. And then I find out afterwards that you were just pretending so that you could get something that you could post online about me.
Yeah, they were in California. That's kind of how that works. It's very transactional. They're nice to your face. There's things that happen, and then they bash you online. They roast you.
That's a difference. That's an East Coast versus West Coast difference, isn't it?
Very much, yeah. Where East Coast, just the baseline is, I'm going to be kind of borderline rude to everyone, just in general. Just not pleasant, not nice. I'm not going to go through the niceties of stuff, especially with people I don't know. Whereas West Coast, very different. They will act like your friend immediately right out of the gate, even though they definitely do not actually feel that way.
Broad generalization that I think a lot of people are going to be upset about, but...
Well, I mean, there's plenty of people who back that up.
Like Gypsy, because she experienced it firsthand.
She has experienced it.
So now she's had to turn her comments off on TikTok. This becomes a pattern with Gypsy, where she'll delete her social media, she'll turn her comments off, she decides she's not doing social media anymore, she's not posting certain things, and then she changes her mind about it a week and a half later. I don't think I would ever have my comments turned on if I was her.
Yeah, probably not. It's probably best to just leave those off.
The scariest part of the episode is that Gypsy is home alone.
Macaulay Culkin.
She made her family disappear. Hey, you opened it to the joke. More than once.
Oh, no.
This is the second time. No, Christy and Rod, they're okay. They're on a trip.
No, that would mean that she would be in New York City, and she's not. If it was the second time.
At the plaza?
Yeah. So it's different.
Rod got off the boat, and I guess he and Christy needed some privacy for a little while.
Immediately goes to Texas to visit with her parents.
So Gypsy's just hanging out at the house, completely unaware that she is basically being stalked outside.
Until she gets a text from a friend, probably Mia, who's letting her know, hey, you in danger, girl.
You in danger, girl.
For real.
There is someone on TikTok who is doing a live stream as she just circles around the block by your house.
She's just driving up and down the street. She's trying to catch a glimpse of maybe Gypsy or Rod or Christy, anybody outside.
From what they said, she was trying to get them to come outside. She was hoping they would notice that this was happening so that they would come outside and there'd be some type of confrontation.
Gypsy didn't get that memo, though. Survival skills, pretty low.
Completely fucking unaware, tucked in a room in the back of the house.
Listening to Surviving Reality.
I was going to say folding diapers. That's not a thing.
It didn't exist yet either.
Shopping for baby clothes, probably. Signing divorce papers. I don't know.
I hope. There's a lot of things on the to-do list. There are.
There's a lot to get done before the baby's born.
A lot to do, bitch.
Figuring out where she's going to schedule a strip mall DNA test.
Because Maury's not recording any new episodes now, so we don't know what to do. We didn't know where to go.
Yeah, I got to tell you, if the Dr. Phil show was still on, I'm pretty sure that they would be invited on to get their DNA test done.
So you're going to make me do a conversation between Dr. Phil and Ryan?
I mean, I'm not going to make you, but I would enjoy it.
I don't know if I have the strength.
I'm going to let you muster it.
You married her when she was in prison for 8 years? How'd you think that was going to end? You know, I always thought it was just too good to be true. We had a connection.
What is the thing that he constantly says? He repeats a phrase over and over again whenever he talks, and it drives me nuts.
Oh, boy. What is it? It's just his Zazzle password. Is he ordering them or is Gypsy? I need to know.
I'm starting to think it was him.
I think it's him. I think he's getting a lot more stuff still. He's running up the credit cards.
There was stuff on back order that's still getting delivered.
It's still happening. But instead we have people from TikTok who are at Gypsy's house saying, open the door or I'll throw rocks through your windows, you dumb whore.
No more Dr. Phil quotes.
That's my favorite one, though.
That is kind of what happened.
That's basically, the summary.
So Gypsy's totally unprepared to deal with this. She's like, I don't know martial arts. She's not allowed to have a gun. I just want to tell you that she's a felon.
Well, yeah.
So, she doesn't have a weapon to protect herself in any way. She's just got...
I don't have skills with a bow staff. She has no skills. No martial arts. No. So then who does she call? The person who looks like he would probably own the katana and sword store at the mall.
I agree with that.
Ken. Yes.
Ken definitely at one point in his life owned an assortment of swords.
A collection, a variety. They're in storage, but they're there.
He can't wait to hang them up in that house. Right above the couch across from the giant TV.
Oh, I was going to say right above the crib. Maybe not. Hopefully not. For safety reasons, we have to keep them in storage.
Just until the baby can safely handle them. Maybe keep them out of the house away from Gypsy.
A little bit longer. Yeah. Let's give it some time.
This did make me feel like Ken actually cares for Gypsy because he was really alarmed by the situation.
Well, he was freaked out. And so they had kind of agreed where he was just going to come pick her up because he was going to have to drive out to Cutoff and get her. And so it was like, all right, well, yeah, I'll see you later this afternoon at 4. And then he hangs up the phone and he's like, I think I just want to go get her right now. And so that it was like, hey, can I come pick you up right now? Just called her back immediately. And she's like, oh yeah, that's great. So it was like reaching that conclusion very quickly. Everybody's on the same page. Why didn't we just say that from the onset of like, I really don't feel comfortable. I didn't sleep well last night. I'm really freaked out.
I think the more he talked to the crew about it, the more freaked out he got. And then he decided he just didn't even want to leave her at the house any longer.
Yeah, I think it's time. And it's not like he's rushing over there. It's going to take an hour and a half to just get there. So that's already a long amount of time. So for her to prepare or whatever she needs to do to pack stuff up, at least it's broad daylight now. At least it's, less of a threat, hopefully, now that she's more aware and hyper aware of what's going on. She's set the alarm in the house and she can kind of hunker down until he gets there.
I'm just going to say it. I think it's fucked up that this woman is 6 months pregnant. The person who did this didn't know that she was alone in the house, but she was. She's alone, probably feeling very vulnerable, being pregnant, and like she has no way to protect herself if someone was to come to the front door or attempt to break into the house or continue to drive around the block and stalk her.
Well, it's still just like the doxing that is taking place too, of having the address that's online and that's available for so many people to just have access to at any given time.
Yeah, and for the person who did it, even if your boundary is that you would have never done something like that, I think the problem is other people see that this is happening and may be inspired to take it to another level.
Right, or if you're making that public knowledge by posting that or sharing that out, and then it's becoming more accessible for people who could have bad intentions or worse intentions than what you would be doing.
And Gypsy's living there, but it's Rod and Christy's house. And Rod and Christy are going to continue to live in that house once Gypsy leaves it, which I'm sure will be the minute she gets off parole.
Yeah, pretty much.
If she's still with Ken, she's moving into that house. She's getting out of there.
Well, her name's on the lease, so yeah, it's got to happen.
Is it? Is she allowed to be on the lease?
Is it? Yeah, I don't know.
Does parole allow that?
Maybe.
She's not living there yet.
Part-time.
Well, it looks like in the next episode, Christy is not too happy to hear what's been going on around her home.
She's waiting for a deputy to be assigned to just be parked outside of their house at all times now. Maybe at least while Rod and Christy are not there. That I could get behind. Sure.
I don't know. This would lead me to new levels of paranoia.
Yeah, this is different. What else is going on in the next episode?
The DNA test.
Oh, I just took a DNA test, turns out.
It's going to be a good one. Yeah, Ryan's getting online, just speculating about whether the baby is his or not.
All right, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat, y'all. It's going to be blue for Ken and red for Ryan.
He's just stoking the flames. He knows this baby is not his.
He has no other content. This was the storyline that he was left with, so he's going to see it to its resolution, definitely. But then there's not much else. He's not able to come up with anything else after that. It's going to be very difficult.
I don't think it matters. Even if Gypsy was to get a DNA test in front of people on live television and they processed the results in real time, they would not believe the answer to the test.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
So I think this is going to be an effort in futility, as Robin Brown would say. I can't wait to see if they go to a strip mall DNA place because I'm so shocked. I don't feel like I've ever seen one in real life, but they are on reality television anytime someone needs to get a test done.
You can pick up most of these, like the at-home DNA test, but that people definitely wouldn't believe if they did an at-home one.
No, and she swabbed her mouth. And how did they test the baby?
Oh, the
baby's not born yet.
That's a good question.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, so maybe not an at-home one for this one.
I'm not sure how long the swab is to get that.
Yeah. It's a COVID swab. They go in from the nose and all the way down to the baby.
Oh, that's not the direction I thought they were going.
No, yeah, that's for these ones. For the at-home ones, yeah, it's a little unpleasant. They don't like to do that.
Well, if you're enjoying this content, there's a lot more of it over on Patreon and on our other podcast, Surviving Sister Wives.
Check the episode description for all the links. You can find us on all the social medias and all the different places where the content lives.
Thanks for listening. See you next time.